Jay.
Yes, I'm here.
Sometimes the biggest news you get is the news you don't get.
Okay.
And I kind of just like realized the other day because I'm like looking at the time, like oh, what month is it right now? As you know, people with young children do often. Like, where am I? Who am I?
Where am I?
I'm like, it's June.
Yeah.
What normally happens in June every year. Every single year for the last God knows how many years.
The award of Florida team, the Stanley Cup.
That's true. That's true. What else happens in June every year? Like clockwork. Prices go up, baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess
Games
so.
Workshop prices go up. No, sorry. I'm being disingenuous. They make a price adjustment.
Doesn't it always happen in March?
It's usually announced in May, and then they do it in June.
Okay.
In June, because that's when their year end flips over. Mm-hmm. So June is the start of the new fiscal year for Games Workshop, and they usually make a price adjustment, which I think is the funniest word in the world because no prices are adjusted down.
I mean, they could. They don't.
But this video, for all you haters out there, we're just a couple of GW shills here on this channel, so
That's how we started.
we're making a shill video
That's how
today.
we started. We haven't. I mean, we're always shilling a bit, but we haven't maximum shilled.
Games Workshop has.
By the way, what's going on? How's your Trench Crusade community going?
You can't say Trench Crusade too loud. Someone will pop out of the ground or whatever. It happened yesterday.
I see. Anyway.
So, yeah, it's the funny way of the world now is for all the Games Workshop gets so much hate and flack every time they do a price increase. And I just like looked around. I was looking online a little bit. I was like, nobody's like praising them for not increasing their prices this year, or saying like, "Oh, look, they didn't increase their prices."
I mean, I already hear the typing or whatever.
Praise them! How dare their prices are already so high,
Exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the thing is, you have other companies like Catalyst Games. You got Asmodee.
Well, most tariff companies that are tariff, whatever.
They're getting
effective.
Yeah. Are experiencing those issues and are increasing prices. And I did a video last week about how the dynamics of that sound effect budget. And I think the really fascinating part of it is, I think Games Workshop is making a strategic decision here.
It seems like a tactical move to be like, oh, look at all you guys having to raise your prices and not us. I mean, they could take it one step further and like
do lower the price,
but like some sort of like
bundle thing,
or we know times are tough, and you're paying tariffs and this and that, so we're gonna sell you this and that for a better price or something. I don't know.
That's a real dream right there. That's only a shill can come up with that kind of.
I mean, the problem is maybe that was brought up in a meeting and another person raised their hand and said,
What's that meme where like he gets thrown out the corporate window or whatever? Yeah, that would be
either that or the guy's like, yeah, but why?
But sir, we could lower the price.
But we could just do nothing, and it's like a price.
Yeah,
lower.
And to be fair, that is entirely true. I think, I think it's disingenuous.
When everything else is going up,
I think it's disingenuous to say like if you're a company and you don't increase your price by the small margin of like inflationary forces that hit you, like as a business owner, as business owners, we see costs rise every year on everything we do, whether it's cost of energy, the phone bill, the boxes we order for every little thing that we need for the store, labor, the rent, all that stuff goes up every single year. It's built into things, and so if you're not increasing your prices a little bit to adjust for that, you're basically going to net your options. You have two options: net less money, or you have to increase your revenue through other ways, right? By selling more things, right? Which is obviously the more challenging of the two, because if you could increase your revenue as a business, you probably would have already done that already. Oh no, Jay, pull the lever over there that increases our revenue.
Yes, I'll just do that, and we'll just make more money.
More money, money just falls from the sky. Yeah, we wish. So I just thought it would be good to mention and just absorb all the hate on their behalf. That, I'd say good on them for not doing it, but like it is nice to not do it every year, because when they do it, they do tend to do it by bigger jumps than 2%. They usually do like a 5 or 10% kind of increase. So, and 5, 6, 7 years ago, they used to not do it every year. They used to do it every couple years, and then it was a bit more substantial to catch up for things, right? So I think it makes sense to not do it this year for two reasons. Like number one is they have been doing it every year for a while, and number two is it looks really good when everyone else is putting their price up, and you just kind of like no.
Yeah, I mean the other weapon they have that we've talked about as well is they are pretty much always increasing the price quietly with the the new releases.
Yeah, that's the hidden one.
Like Kill Team boxes used to be 170 or something for the 2-player. 2 things.
The double box with terrain.
With some terrain, and now they're like 200.
Well, they did the shrinkflation thing, which is like they give you less for the same price, basically, right?
So they have,
Kill Team Typhon.
They have or there will be a new really cool mini that's going to come out that maybe used to average 55 and now he's 70 or whatever.
Prince Wardry, great example of this thing, because we've seen. AOS big kits be like in the 140 to 160 range. Yeah. And then they've crept up to 200, and now Prince Wardry is 230 Canadian dollars.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say in terms of the equivalent would probably be the Stormcast guy in Star Drake, the Chicken Dragon. That was a sub $200 model, I recall, for most of the time. Or maybe like a Techless when he launched was sub 200, and now it's like they just come out and he's gonna be 200, 220 or whatever he is.
Well, yeah, and they do this thing where
okay.
that they basically give themselves a new ceiling, basically, right? Like they push the ceiling.
I would say, the next quiet thing they would do, although they're being careful about it because I think they still are trying to find the secret formula that'll make AOS boom a little more, is things like the Spearhead boxes have maintained that $175 price. They haven't moved to the 190 or 200 yet, but I think when that happens, that'll be one of those quiet but very substantial price increases that'll increase their revenue significantly, things like that. So, but true, they have not hit us with the the last. I don't know if it was the last one or the one before that. There was one either last year or the year before that touched so many products. I just remember having to change more than half the store. You remember how it used to be you could so easily this is this much, this is that much. We used to for years. Yeah. You would hand me a box, I'd be blindfolded or whatever, and I would be like,
I know
this
that
much.
Price.
And now it's not the case. I have to
because they
often look it up.
They went to the 50-cent things again.
They have 50-cent things,
which really irritated me. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, why are we doing?
But even the solo characters, they're not all uniformly 50 or something. There's one is 48, one is 42.50, one is 52.50, one is 55,
46.50. They're they have every they've got all these little tiers or whatever. They probably have letter codes associated with all these groupings or whatever. But
they're that's a Space Marine more. Just straight
I mean,
could it be a Space Marine? Still more.
Could it be? Yeah.
Oh, this is a Beastman or an Old World kit. Keep it flat.
Yeah. Let's not increase the price on that. Yeah, please. Yeah, please. I mean, and to their I'm saying to their credit, but paints haven't gone up in price in
that's
6
a big one.
or 7 years.
That's actually another sneaky one.
A paint pot has been $540 forever now.
Yeah.
Now they did one thing last year or the year before when they did the new washes.
They shrinkflated it.
They did shrinkflate it, and contrast paints you could argue are also shrinkflated as well.
Yeah.
Because they're the 18 mil jars that they created instead of the double jars they used to have for the old shades. And now the new shades are in the 18 mil jars, so they did a bit of shrinkflation there.
They shrinkflated that.
So
hard. Yeah.
Hard.
Charge you the same. Take away a third. Yeah.
Now the good news is it would be hard for them to shrinkflate it more because you know what I mean. If that jar is getting any smaller, people would be like, "Okay, buddy, okay."
To be honest, I'm kind of surprised, maybe because the paints dry out, that they don't just make them all the 18 mil jars across the board for everything, just because of then there's one. You only have to manufacture one jar. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe when the new paint range inevitably comes out, that's what they do. They look at a universal paint size.
Then just everything's $10 no matter what.
I mean, isn't that the dream for them to charge $10 for paint?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though. This is the crazy thing. When they were first made $5.40, they were the most expensive paints in the store.
Sure.
That's not the case anymore.
No.
All the other paint companies, just due to their own costs going up, have risen to the point where Other than Vallejo is basically on par with them now. Ish. Yeah. Everything else is above them, and in some cases well above them. Right. So they you could argue they have space there to increase the price again if that's something
they could easily do at least $600 or $650. Yeah. It wouldn't be out of place with their competitors at all. Yeah.
Now they do offer less paint than everybody else, but yeah. So
True.
We'll see what happens there. I still get. I have a feeling they're brewing something, like the hobby side of Games Workshop. Like it feels like it's been enough years.
People also in hobby store is that people forget that when they do, like, let's say they did whatever another 30, 40 contrast paints or something, like, or new paint, or sorry, if they go back and redo all the layer paints or something, which is like another 60, 70 colors, that is such a just slam dunk cash injection for them. It's like
for them, oh my god,
because they're like, well, you got all this racking, you're not going to carry all the paint, and then carrying all the paint is predicated too on being part of their like whole like carrying the ranges to get all the perks and everything. And then one pack of each paint times it's just like $3,000 to $4,000 like instantly, and then you probably buy more.
Oh, it's probably more than that even.
No, but you'll probably buy more because you're also like, well, I don't want to run out of this right away. Because usually when they do that, people come in and buy them like in droves. Yeah. So they just get to pocket like a huge chunk out of virtually every store that carries their products like so quick. And then if you don't, you just become the store who didn't update their paint range, so people just stop buying hobby supplies from you. Like it's
throwing an anchor on your
dude, it's nuts.
On your
it
foot
is insane.
Jumping in the water.
It is like you consumers will be like, oh, this went up $5, and I'm like, yeah, but the few times every 5 years that I have to buy a new rack or redo a rack, it's like, oh my god. For sure. Oh my god. Now, luckily for us, we're the paint store, so it doesn't go badly. It turns out actually pretty well for us, but I can just imagine.
I mean, as a person who loves painting miniatures,
it's a great release.
I think it's fun. Like it's like, and for the consumer, like, I think it's only good for the consumer because, like, if you have a bunch of paints already, you don't have to care. Yeah. Right. It's just an opportunity to, like, if there is something cool, to try it out. Right. It is more for the stores to be like, oh, here we go. $5,000 to $10,000 or whatever. Just
I guess I'm saying comparing to when the models go up a little bit. They're two different things, but the hobby stores really take it on the chin when the paints. I mean, conversely, when they raise the price of the boxes a few dollars, it's actually nice for us too, as we get to like make a tiny bit of extra profit for a short time, which I'm not going to be like ashamed of or whatever. Like it's
in this business, no, you shouldn't be ashamed of that. No.
Like if you're a hobby store owner and you get a small opportunity to make a little extra margin
think of all of the products we have to throw out in the garbage, basically, that we lose money on. Yeah. Every edition, all the books that go bad. So you can't feel bad about that. Yeah. Like that little bit of money you get to make extra, like it doesn't even cover that, right? So it's it is what it is. So but I think to end this video, to kind of cycle into the last part of it, I think the most interesting part of this conversation is how this decision impacts the other game companies, right? So like Games Workshop in the network of like, the Corvus Bellis, the Asmodees with the Marvel and the Legion and all the games that they make, and BattleTech and stuff like that, is if we're seeing price creep and all those other things, especially on this side of the world or whatever. I don't know about the European markets and how that's happening, but where does everybody end up? Like, does this end up like starting to be a thing where people start like going after the smaller companies, be like, why are you raising prices? Like, I saw some pretty negative comments on the Atomic Mass Games like announcement, being like, well, you wouldn't have had to do this if you just started making models in the U.S. It's like everyone's so full of sympathy,
Yeah, there's like, that's a really funny thing, because they probably went to play those games because they were like on average cheaper than GW games, and they're like nearly the same quality. This is a thing. Like, there's people that, like, on one hand, you have people that are just fans of the games, which is fine. Yeah. But there is a significant portion that is like, I play these games because they're like, the games are simpler and they're cheaper and they don't get updated very much and blah blah blah. Yeah. And then the irony is Asmodee was probably able to offer them cheaper because they could get them made overseas.
That's pretty much the reason.
So
if
they all of a sudden had to buy the equipment and make it in the US, those boxes will, and because they haven't been doing it as long as Games Workshop in that format, they probably have to charge even more than GW to sell them, to make them locally. So, yeah, that'll be interesting when that happens, if they get their wish. But to the point about the strategic thing, I agree. I think it is. If I had to speculate, I would say this is a strategic thing that is, because they very, very easily could have said, "Oh," because everyone else, like it's like a COVID excuse, like, yeah, look, due to tariffs, due to this, we got it. Sorry, guys.
It's impressive. Like they have the biggest smokescreen that they've had in years, basically since COVID or whatever.
Yes.
To basically do this, every company's doing this right now, and they didn't do it. And I guess the question I have is like, is anyone going to give them any credit for that, or are they going to be like, well, I'm not thanking them for not putting a gun to my head this year?
True. Probably.
You're like, okay, fair enough, I guess. But I mean, they still could have done it. You know, they still could have done it.
Oh, they're too busy shooting other companies. Their competition, apparently.
Well, in that video we made last week about the two companies, how they're compared, people were like, "Oh, Asmodee's way worse," and I was like, oh, "Okay, buddy."
Yeah, right.
yeah. And like, just because they're
the only thing that would absolutely kibosh this is if tomorrow they announce the price increase or whatever.
Man, I mean, with our luck, probably. Remember the couple videos we made of like this game's dead or whatever, and then like the afternoon we release it,
then Asmodee bought Zombicide
like, no.
or whatever. Yep.
I think that was the Underworlds one. We basically Underworlds is dead.
Oh yeah, and then GW was like new edition of Underworlds.
I'm like, well, I probably should have been right.
I mean, I think in the long term we'll still come on top because that new edition, I've not seen any evidence.
Well, the good news is we can just re-release that video.
Yeah.
Re-release that video
every year.
Redux or whatever.
Redux.
Yeah. Is Underworlds still dead?
Still dead. Yeah. Yes, it is. Anyway.
Cool.
We have more videos to make, so...
Oh, yeah. Jay's like, get on with it. Let's wrap it up, B. What do you guys think? No Games Workshop price increase this year. Do they deserve praise for that, or are they just doing what they should do and not increase their prices? Because they, like we talked about in the video, increase their prices in other ways anyways. What do you guys think? Let us know. If you like these videos, give us a like and a subscribe. It goes a long way to helping with the algorithm and all that stuff. And we really appreciate if you check out our Patreon. That's helps support these videos and helps us invest in things like fancy microphones and space laser sounds for the background. So we need more space laser sounds and phone ringing sound effects. So until next time. We only have the one ring sound, guys. Come on. Get those Patreon bucks in. All right, thanks. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.